Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Any Questions with Reverend Dan Sire. I have a question for you today. Does Jesus save? Yes, he does. But very possibly not in the way that you typically might think of that. I was on a bit of a trip last week. I went to an area of the country where there was a lot of Jesus activity in terms of evangelical churches, a lot of Jesus billboards, and a lot of Jesus saves billboards. And of course, the typical Orthodox understanding of that is that through Jesus we are saved. Salvation, in other words, means that, typically, from an Orthodox standpoint, salvation means that when you die, you get to go to a magic place in the sky. See, it all starts when we are born. We're born with original sin. Seems like a rather odd attribute coming from a loving God, but if you read about this guy in the Old Testament, you see that he can be a rather unpleasant fellow at times. But anyway, we're born in original sin and we continue to pile it on. But there's salvation. God sends us Jesus. However, we killed him. Well, the Romans killed him. However, do not fear, because it is through this human sacrifice that we are saved. All of these sins are forgiven, and we get to go to a magic place in the sky when we die. This is the basic concept of Orthodox Christianity and salvation. Not a new concept, actually, because for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, we humans have been making sacrifices, human and otherwise, to appease angry gods, again, for thousands of years. So this concept, unfortunately, is nothing new. And I think we can do a lot better. So what's Pastor Dan's understanding of salvation? My understanding of salvation is about here and now, rather than some magic time in the future. My understanding of salvation is that we are free from spending our time splashing around in the shallow end of the pool. That we're free to explore and to live fully engaged in our lives here and now. That's what salvation is. And Jesus Christ, through what he said, through what he did, how he lived, how he died, the story of his resurrection, through all of this, through listening to him and studying him and about him, we can begin to become engaged in the process of salvation. The process of wading into the deep end of the pool. The process of living as fully as we can by, again, following Jesus. One example, I'll give you one example. And that is, a major theme in Jesus' sayings in life is to look out. Turn away from this inward focus that we are preoccupied with and look out as he did. Look out to the ill who are neglected by society. Look out to other tribes who are rejected by society. Look out to women who were often neglected and rejected by society. Look out. Look up and look out. And if we do this, if we can emulate Jesus' actions, then we too, as he did, can be engaged in the process of being saved, of being free to engage fully in life. Last week in this place that I went to, I took a plane. Delta Airlines, Airbus A319. And I was struck by our curious behavior, which seems to me to point directly to our obsession with an inward focus. So on airlines, it seems, at least in my most recent experience, when they prepare the plane between flights, they close all the window shades. I guess maybe that helps keep the sun out and makes it not quite so hot. And I don't know, but that seems to be what they do. And the unfortunate reality that I've also witnessed on recent flights is that most of the folks keep the window shades down. I always select a window seat. I like airplanes. I like to look out. So I select a window seat, open my window shade, and now I ask the two colleagues sitting next to me, or two passengers sitting next to me, is it okay if I open the window? Yeah, it's okay if you open the window. But on this particular flight, it seemed that throughout the course of the flight, it was a dark tube, a dark kind of rumbling, noisy tube. And as I opened the window, looked out, we were passing over gorgeous countryside. We were passing over gorgeous countryside at 34,000 feet, going 500 miles an hour. What an experience. What a thing to witness. But I had to go to use the lavatory. I was near the front, went to the back of the plane. When I came back, it just struck me that of the, I guess there are probably 50 windows in this airplane. Of the 50 windows in this airplane, all of the shades were down with the exception of, how many do you guess? 3. Only 3 of the 50 windows were open to the outside world to see the wonders of flying through the sky over beautiful country. It was a dark, noisy tube with people focused on their screens. Jesus, through what he says and through what he does, points us in the other direction. So, in conclusion, does Jesus save? Yes, Jesus does save. Not by some human sacrifice that allows us entree into a magic place in the sky when we die, but Jesus saves by showing us and guiding us into a world in which we can live fully engaged in who we were created to be, fully engaged by looking up and looking out. So open that darn window shade. Any questions?